Hello, this is a message for whoever wants this message regarding what we may bring in this wintry moment to our planet. This is perhaps a request from Earth to us, and at least maybe a way to help focus how we might want to be responsible for and attentive to the needs of Earth on which we all depend. And I have some beautiful decks to speak to us on this topic today. So we're going to start with the Elemental Oracle. And I'm just going to pull a card right now to see what we are feeling. Wow, we see transformation and pressure. This person literally being pushed through that edge into finding a shape out of pure energy. Transformation and pressure. So perhaps there's pressure being felt on us, or perhaps we are transforming our relationship and we should feel pressure to do that. I often feel like these earth readings that I do are quite bossy. I feel like I have a clear, my brain has already decided, even though I don't know. And so I need to kind of release that. So it makes me judgy and bossy instead of open. So let me correct that here. Let's see what the cards tell us instead of my preconceived notions. Pressure, transformation. You can view pressure as being negative, or you can see it as being a shaper, director, or positive influence. Find a happy medium where you can benefit and not be disadvantaged. So feel the pressure, but let it shape you and transform you in a positive direction. And I definitely think there's pressure right now. See, there's my brain again. We are facing crisis. We have snow on the ground here, but it's in the 50s and it's warm. And there wasn't snow and there wasn't rain for a very, very long time. So I feel pressure and I feel a great deal of powerlessness. And I'm listening. I'm listening for a suggestion on how I can be in better relation with my planet. So we're going to do a 4-card release, embrace. Oh, that one wants to be our first card. Release, embrace, hidden influences, and future reading here. These 2 decks will clarify this deck. So this really wanted to be the first card of release. So this is release being the hermit in some way. The little spider in her web. And the hermit is about going alone and going inward for truth. So maybe I hear that, as someone who I just admitted is feeling like the strength of my pre-existing ideas. She's also under the moon, the full moon, and I believe we're coming up on a Virgo full moon. We have an Aquarius new moon on the 11th, and then newly realizing that, so the sun is moving through all of the astrological signs, and it takes about a month in each sign, all 12 signs. And then we get the moon, which is back and forth, conjunct next to with the sun when new, because it's between Earth and the sun, and so they're in the same sign, and that will be Aquarius this month. And then the moon goes around within 28 days into opposition with the sun. So then she goes into Virgo, and then she'll come back to Virgo's opposite, where we'll find the sun in Pisces. Okay, so the hermit. I am studying astrology. I'm a little obsessed with it, with making sense of it, and kind of trying to visualize what's happening out there, because this reader I watched, Pam Gregory, described this moment that she had when she was able to look at somebody's chart and she couldn't see the frequency at which they had lived their life, but she could see a lot. And what she described was that it was like a symphony, and that she could see now all the planets moving in this orchestra. And I aspire to being able to see that vision. Will I ever? I don't know, but I'm sorry if it's annoying. Okay, you've probably left if it's annoying. Pardon me. Embrace this little page of cups, the capybara. Here, the capybara is in the water under pink, springy. It's a very springy image. I see the new moon, this little red bird that I think of representing. There's in a lot of these cards, there's a lotus and a little red bird. The lotus is associated with cups here, and the red bird appears in many cards in this deck. I think of that as today, red being will, being our little ego, being in this very simpatico relationship here with this Page of Cups. But the Page of Cups is young and therefore new and not cynical and not full of pre-existing notions of how to love. Page of Cups might be not really taken seriously. And very often when I think of our planet in these readings, I'm caused to remember that it's young people who really need us to change this. And sometimes we're seeing young people, very often we're seeing young people like these amazing Native American young people and Greta Thunberg, whose name I know, and I wish I knew the indigenous kids who are also leaders, showing us a new way of being on our planet. Hidden influence is the Four of Wands. This is beautiful spring, happy birds, but the Four of Wands is about stability, about everything being transparent. It's a celebration as well. So a part of this for me, and I love this, is like we're feeling pressure, right? And we're called into this beautiful celebration and openness and joy in our relationship with Earth. I mean, it's actually, wow, really, it's such a relief because, you can see like my mind is strict and that pressure is that I feel is strict. And here the cards who I understand are carrying a message from Earth are full of love and celebration of the beautiful, magical power of our planet. And I also think that the Four of Wands is reminding us that there's a lot that happens beneath the surface, and we need to have that all brought up. We need to know where everything we use is coming from. We need to know that it comes from a place of harmony and beauty and cleanliness, purity. I hear the word purity. And in a way that is not puritanical, but in a way that I think of from my yoga practice. It has to do with this being very present in the moment with what is, and finding joy in that instead of this constant yearning for complexity, for excitement, for what isn't, that we have to make and buy and sell. There is a real call here to a joyful existence. And the Four of Wands is about being with your best friends, like the people that you can just full on be yourself with here. So that's a beautiful hidden thing here for us as we embrace this Page of Cups. In the future, we see strength. Strength is a card of Leo. It's very often a lion with a woman, and it's about pride, it's about just strength, but all of the imagery is really about a predator who has become peaceful and has the strength of self-control to be with a person who would be their natural prey, a lion with a woman, a lion with a lamb, and here we have a snake with a mouse. You can see the heart buried in the ground there. This is the source of strength. And heart and Leo are very much related here. So to me, this is moving out of this, the cobwebs, the isolation, looking into ourselves, into this more friendly and loving and new relationship. It's becoming more and more possible for me, and I think this is happening to other people too, that in this isolation, that my closest, the person I hug is Earth. I go out and hug trees. That's the safest hugs around. I went and visited my parents. I hugged them. But it just feels very rusty even when we were together. It was just like, Anyway, so this is something that I feel like I can do. It's not up in my head with this mean, strict journey of counting, counting everything, There is willpower in our future plan for our relationship with the earth. We do see underlying here the Emperor, who is very much society and structural power, right? Will, determination as well. So let's just see a little bit more about what's coming up. On the bottom of this deck, we see the South. So maybe we'll read more about that at the end of the reading. Let's clarify. I'm sorry, I've already cried, and but let's find out a little bit more from this other earthy, animal-filled deck. So what are we releasing this Hermit here? Mother of Swords, Four of Wands. So that's in our hidden influences, Four of Wands as well. And we're hitting her in I'll show you the cards here. And, okay. Resistance, integrity. All right, so we get in our Hermit, right? So this is us going alone by ourselves into ourselves to find out the truth. We're being told that it's not where to look. The Queen of Swords, she is this owl, this wise owl. She knows the truth. She's able to wield that sword to her benefit. She can represent a pretty hard ideology, kind of like the one that we saw me just be relieved of, burst into tears at the result of that already. So this idea of relationship is a part of our release, and I already see how the contrast between these are the same. This is very abstract to me, and this is very grounded in the real world and in its beauty. This is also beautiful, but this is much more of an idea. And we see fire here is a part of our release. This is a card of resistance. It's also of having integrity all alone. So again, I feel very much like this is about leaving ideas that we've made up all by ourselves. And then we're asked to come and ask our planet, get in the water, get outside, commune with your planet. Let's see. What more? What more can we learn? So our isolation and our being cut off from the planet, waiting, and nothing against spiders, but here she is, she's made her nest and she's waiting in it for the food to come, right? And that's what we do. We go to the store. It's so removed from where it comes from. We don't know, right? We don't know. Things are hidden. Things are hidden, and they need to be on the surface. They need to be not abstract. They need to be real. Like, where does my food come from? I think I would like that it be a part of my right, in my global right or my national rights, that I can be assured that what I'm eating is not harmed people. The planet is not polluting. It's taking in a way that is sustainable and respectful. But right now, I'm just in my little web waiting for the food to come get stuck in it. And you know what I mean? Okay. All right. Page of Cups. What are we to embrace here? Okay, the world. This is perhaps just our planet. It could also mean an ending, this revolutionary change that we're in, right? For some reason, this reminds me of this image of pressure and transformation, because the world is about transformation. It's about an end of one way and the start of a new way. And we can see some of that same, those sort of vertical lines of transformation through pressure. And that when we go through completing a cycle, the world card means that completed a major cycle. Astrologically, lots of evidence that we are in revolution, and the old way is ending in these few years here, and a new way being born. I'm directing opening my heart and my mind to what is this new way? What is the future coming in? Secondly, we get the Father of Swords. We get the Mother of Swords in our release. The Philosopher King with his rainbow sword. Lately, he comes up quite a bit, and he represents Aquarius. And so we have a sense here of all of the planets that are currently in Aquarius, which I've talked about in other readings. But he's also this philosopher who, and he looks sort of startled by what he's seen, and maybe he's nature talking to us, bringing the truth to us. It's a rainbow sword. I think that goes with the feel of these other cards. It's like joy and openness and diversity. And diversity, we've abused this word. It's become very corporatized. But it also is about that we're better. The earth is better when there's multiple species. Biodiversity is healthy. It's about knowing that we're better when we're different, when there's lots of different ideas and different kinds of being and ways of being. And then we embrace the sun. This is absolute joy. There's such a clear message in this reading that we're feeling pressure, and we're told, find a balance in how you respond to that pressure. Don't let it stress you out, and don't let it be harsh. Don't let it isolate you. This kind of lonely, disciplinarian pressure. We're being invited to joy as a way of interacting and engaging in a new way with our earth. Why not? Why not? To me, the pleasure of going out into the woods twice a day with my little dog, it's one of the best things that I do. I do it every day. If I don't, he barks. When I do, he takes a nap. So enjoyment, that is so clearly here. And this capybara reminds me of a little famous capybara named Cheesecake, who was working at an animal shelter and was quite maternal and bossy and loving and knew all the animals and cared for all these little orphans. And I think of that as a perfect representation for a Page of Cups. Young, silly, light, joy, a rainbow sword. Truth is a rainbow sword. So our hidden influence, the Four of Wands, which I'll remind you is such a beautiful day in spring with your friends, with your beautiful planet, and you are building together. This is the hidden influence. So we are very alone in our release, and hidden is this collaboration, perhaps with the planet, perhaps and definitely with one another. A tower. This is the pressure coming from an end that came because we didn't quit. What is that tower? I mean, Corona, fires all summer, hurricanes, things are going off the rails, and that is definitely, I don't even know why it's showing up in the hidden influences. Maybe because we're so good at getting alarmed and watching the news constantly and then going unconscious. But the other thing it says to me is, the tower is about you can choose to change, and if you don't choose to, the divine will bring balance back and change it for you. And so that is always in play as we decide, I don't want to do anything. I'm going to go back into my little spiderweb hermit mode by myself, cut off and dissociated from feeling the joy and beauty, but also the pressure that we need to also feel to affect real three-dimensional change. And here we have the sacred mountain that I live under. Perhaps you live under a sacred mountain. I bet you do. You might not know it. I just taught that to my history students the other day. They don't know that they live under a sacred mountain. They go skiing on it, and they don't know what a transgression that is, or how to do that properly. Okay, and then we get, in our hidden influence, temperance. A sense of divine time, the power and magic of the divine, of the natural world. Here, this heron. And we see drops of water falling from the heart of this heron onto this fire. I think of tempering, the way that metal gets tempered, that you heat and beat and heat and beat and heat and beat metal, and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And so what I think, and what I feel here in the hidden influences of this is our planet. Our planet is doing something even without us. And if you look a little bit into the mycelium, which is the underwebbing, all the root system of fungus that interacts with and helps the trees communicate with one another. And you can imagine that you're standing on a web of powerful networks that are very effectively able to concoct cocktails, solutions to pests on the surface. And scientists are working with fungus, mycelium, to come up with ant traps and things like that. Because nature are very adaptive, as are we. We have extremely plastic minds. I think we might consider returning to the sense of ourselves as more fluid, as being able to transform dramatically under pressure, as cycles come and go, and that this is a part of the energy that we live in, is one of constant transformation, of evolution, of resilience, of wisdom, and it's a very dynamic system that we are a part of. And so in our hidden influence is this incredible, gorgeous planet doing the work it does to save itself. This I find to be great relief. My part that I play is changing how I live in the world, from this cut off spider to this little red bird riding on the back of a capybara on a spring day in a beautiful pond here. There's happiness. That's I'm called to experience this world, and that from from that love comes our future harmony, this strength that once the abuser becomes the friend to once prey, now fellow, now our earth, which is appearing here as incredibly powerful and capable of responding in the beautiful ways that we get to see in flowers and birds and light. Fire, too, the kind of destructive fires that we have been seeing in summers of drought. Just that little, wow, I really see fire and drought and that waiting for rain. And the very black and white, the feeling that the bird has that is black and white, that is stark. It's very dramatic and powerful. Okay, wow. Let's see, what is the future here? What can we know of strength and what we're aiming towards? And I think this may be just like a vision that we manifest and we put our energy towards in a positive way. How do I absolutely change my relationship with my planet from being a predator and a destructor into being a friend? So here is an Ace of Wands, a new idea, a new passionate beginning. Pleasure, again. Here we see an 8 of Pentacles. This is work. This is the spider now making all the connections. I noticed that this spider that we release, like, there's a hole in her web. It's black. You know, it's a messy, incoherent, black web. You know, nothing to critique about a spider. You know, this is very good at trapping flies, I'm sure. This is a more common kind of web. But then there are these days when we see this web as just a beautiful work of art that has all of the connectivity, the intersections are all visible here in this web. And it will equally capture the food that is needed. So here we have a new idea and very practical, determined work, artfully done in the future. And finally, the Magician. Here we are in the future with all the tools and knowing how to use them. And there's that black hole from the first spider web, and there's the sunlight streaming out of darkness, and this jaguar to represent the magician, the manifester. This vision to manifest. That affirms for me that idea I had that we can just enjoy our planet and become conscious of our relationship to it, not through I'm bad, but through joy, through love. The planet is doing a lot without us, despite us, but we can plug into that. We can feel this dynamic energy. We can see the plan as it unfolds, and we can learn how to use our tools to build this beautiful, it's hard for me to pick things up, beautiful friendship, full of heart with our earth. Wow. Well, if you're still here, you didn't mind that I burst into tears a couple of times during that reading. You have the Four of Cups here, which is a little rat. This is at the bottom of the deck. Okay, so here's the Four of Cups. It's a card of dissatisfaction. And then with that, we get death, the end of dissatisfaction. This is an underlying influence here. We're going to change from sort of emotional poverty. This is ending. This is a transformative process. We've seen the Tower. Death is here. The Ten of Swords appears normally. You wouldn't pick this up because it's upside down. It appears upside down Another ending, though. Holy moly. And the 10 of Wands as well. Ending, ending, ending. Lots of change here. It's happening whether we like it or not. And there's our wise Father of Swords. I think it's important to just point to how in this form, the Father of Swords, these feathers to me represent indigenous practices and relations to Earth. We need to learn from people who know how to treat this planet with love, if we're not of those traditions. So let's end here with the South, number 2. Whew, I love how I feel. I love being this channel for this message. This is really a moving message. Okay. South. Adventure. Take a risk, but an educated one. Do or see something you haven't before, as experiencing something new will help to clear your mind and give wonder to your heart. Look carefully at your plan. Something may be amiss. The situation may have a happy medium. It is not all or nothing. Wonder. Wonder and a happy medium here. Happy. Wonder. That is what this message is totally about. So, thank you for being with me through this very moving message from Earth to us. Have a beautiful day. Go out and enjoy where you live. Love it. Love, love, love your planet. It is doing a lot, and the magic of it is quite something to experience. Okay, have a great day.